Have you ever heard astronomers say things like space is curved or the universe is finite, but unbounded, and wondered what they mean? These concepts can seem mind-boggling, but today, we're going to break them down using a simple and fascinating metaphor, Flatland. This story, introduced by Edwin Abbott, a scholar from Victorian England, will help us understand dimensions in a whole new way. Ready to dive in? Let's get started. Imagine living in a world called Flatland. Everything here is two-dimensional. There's no such thing as height. You have length and width, but the concept of up and down simply doesn't exist. In this world, the inhabitants are shapes like squares, triangles, and circles, all scurrying about their flat existence. They know only two directions, left, right, and forward, back. Sounds strange, right? But for them, it's the only reality they've ever known. Now, let's say a three-dimensional creature, let's imagine it looked like an apple, decides to visit Flatland. It hovers above the flat world, looking down at an unsuspecting square going about its business. This apple wants to introduce itself, so it says, "Hello, I'm from the third dimension." But here's the problem. The square can only perceive things into dimensions. It looks around its flat world, but sees nothing. To the square, the apple doesn't exist. And hearing a voice from nowhere, that's terrifying. It sounds like the voice is coming from inside its own house, or worse, from inside its own body. Naturally, our poor flat friend starts to wonder if it's losing its mind. Frustrated, the apple decides to physically enter Flatland. But when a three-dimensional object passes through a two-dimensional world, only a slice of it is visible. Imagine slicing an apple in half. Each cross-section shows a different part of the apple. That's exactly what happens here. As the apple moves through Flatland, the square sees what looks like a series of changing shapes. It's confusing, strange, and impossible for the square to make sense of. It has no frame of reference for anything beyond its two-dimensional existence. And just when things couldn't get any weirder, the apple does something unexpected. It reaches down and plucks the square right out of Flatland, lifting it into the third dimension. At first, the square is completely disoriented. It's never experienced anything like this before. But soon, it starts to see something amazing. It can look down into Flatland. It can see inside houses, even inside the other flat creatures. For the first time, the square understands there's more to reality than what it once knew. It's glimpsing a whole new dimension. This story of Flatland helps us imagine how higher dimensions could exist beyond what we perceive. Just like the square couldn't comprehend a third dimension, we may struggle to fully grasp the concept of curved space or other higher dimensions in our universe. But through metaphors like Flatland, we can start to wrap our minds around these profound ideas. So the next time you hear astronomers talk about space being curved or the universe being finite but unbounded, remember there's always more to reality than meets the eye. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more mind-bending explorations of our universe.